going to a deeper level of life. I think that we have a better understanding of what is happening in the world today and what should be happening with us. We want to be able to distinguish between religious sentiment, religious fanaticism, and solid spiritual science. When you base your life on solid spiritual science, the first issue that you will deal with is, what is the nature of the self? Is it material or spiritual? So we tried to present that to you this weekend. Secondly, you'll want to know what is the Supreme Self, the source of the non-material energy. You see, as soon as you admit that there's a non-material energy, then you have to try to understand what is the source of that non-material energy. The source of the non-material energy is also non-material. And Krishna explains himself in Bhagavad Gita. He explains that he is the origin of everything, material and spiritual. Both energies emanate from him. So then we need to understand Krishna. Who is Krishna? When you want to make someone's acquaintance, you act favorably toward that person. So Bhakti Yoga is the science of how to make Krishna's acquaintance again. We have forgotten Krishna due to our immersion in the illusory energy. We have taken matter to be the most important thing. The Sanskrit word for matter is dvitiya, the secondary. But we have taken it to be primary. And therefore our life has become such a struggle. So many material circumstances. I've talked to many of you and you've presented complex, intricate material problems that are affecting your life. All because we don't know how to make priorities. We make the material number one and the spiritual number 10 at best. Many of you were asking, how shall we apply this now that we are going home? We'll go back to work. A few will go back to studies. How to apply this? So let us go over the basic spiritual technology that we should apply. Number one, association. Everything depends on good association for achieving the goals. Just like if you want to achieve material goals, you associate with those who are very serious about those goals. And similarly, if you want to achieve spiritual goals, you associate with those who are serious about that. You will be defined according to your association. You can judge someone according to the company they keep. Just look and see who's around them and you'll understand the kind of person you're dealing with. So if you associate with materialistic people, you'll be influenced in that way. And of course, if you associate with Krishna's devotees, you'll get that superior influence. So by your choice of associates, you're choosing your life. Please remember that. We invite all of you to please regularly take the association of devotees. And then you'll be inspired to make a transformation. But if you associate with those who are dedicated materialists, you'll simply become inspired to go deeper in illusion. Deeper into living a purposeless, pointless life. You'll be inspired to just be a consumer. So please think about this. The first thing is association. Bhakti, Krishna consciousness, is a very social activity. Krishna is never alone. Krishna is always with his devotees. And why should you be alone? You should always be with devotees. Those of you who are gradually associating more with devotees, you see what a difference it makes. You become so clear, as one person was telling me. Your consciousness becomes so clear. And when you're away from devotees, everything is so confusing, everything looks so complex, intricate. Oh, what to do? How to solve this problem? Oh. Persons were coming to see me today. Oh, Swami, what to do? The complexities are there because of a lack of clarity. And the lack of clarity is there because of not the best association. I was explaining to someone today, if you want the material indulgence side of your life to decrease, then simply associate with devotees, and automatically the spiritual side of your life will increase. So please keep in mind association. It's so important. It's in the beginning, it's the most important thing. And even when you become more spiritually developed, more spiritually advanced, association will inspire you to higher and higher levels. Just like those of you who are doing your PhDs. The idea is that you associate with other researchers, other PhDs, candidates, experienced PhD people, and you inspire one another to do the research. So at all levels of Krishna consciousness, association is so important. What is the second thing? In good association, you'll be inspired to chant the Hare Krishna mantra. Chanting Hare Krishna is a yajna, it's a sacrifice recommended in the Vedas for this day and age. As Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita, at the beginning of creation, he sent forth population along with instructions for how to perform yajna, sacrifice. That is how to live happily, even in the material world. To perform sacrifice. Now, in previous ages, the Vedic sacrifices were huge rituals, very costly affairs, very intricate and time-consuming. But because people are so short-lived today, and their minds are so agitated, and the atmosphere is so disturbed, Krishna has made it so easy to perform yajna, sacrifice for him. Simply chant the holy names, Hare Krishna and Rama. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That is the method of yajna, of sacrifice in this age. In the association of devotees, you'll be inspired to chant every day. Those of you who are not chanting yet, you start off and then gradually increase. Start off with a little and gradually build up. I also did like that 40 years ago. In the beginning, you'll think, oh, I have no time for this chanting. But gradually you'll discover that the chanting creates time, in that it purifies your mind and you don't waste so much time in your mind. You do the affairs of your life quicker because you're more focused. Your vision is more concentrated because your mind is more clear. It's clean. But in the beginning, it looks like, how will I ever add this chanting to my life? I have no time. Everyone knows it. But by chanting Hare Krishna, your mind becomes clear and you see, I've been wasting time. Everyone discovers this. In the beginning, so many persons say, oh, I have no time for adding these spiritual technologies. But then, you start to chant Hare Krishna, and you begin to realize, I have wasted so much time in my mind, because my mind is not clean. It's inefficient. Thoughts are time-consuming. Just the time that you're thinking, oh, what to do now? Why am I doing this? What is the purpose? That takes time. You could be chanting Hare Krishna. Oh, why is work so stressful? Oh, my studies. Why did I have such a merciless professor? Oh. That takes time. Instead, you can chant Hare Krishna. So, number one, association. Number two, chanting regularly. Those of you who are starting to associate with devotees, you know, they're always asking, please start to chant every day. And then number three, studying Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. You see, the bhakti science that Krishna teaches is not sentiment. It is the most exhaustive, comprehensive spiritual knowledge. By reading Bhagavad Gita and its graduate study, Srimad Bhagavatam, you'll understand everything about the material and spiritual worlds. You'll understand Krishna. Someone may say, but I have no time for reading. But then we notice there is time for TV watching. Once you begin to study Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, you are shocked at the knowledge that you've been missing. Your life becomes very deep. So number one is association. Number two is chanting. Number three is studying the books, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. And number four, all the food that you eat should first be offered to Krishna. In the Western world, there's a popular saying, you are what you eat. You become what you eat. What you eat affects your consciousness. So if you begin to offer all your food to Krishna, your life starts to become spiritualized. How did you like the food that was served here this weekend? Anyone have any objections? It was very good, yes? What was special about that food? What was special was that it's all offered to Krishna with love and devotion. You've tasted those ingredients before, but there was something so special. That's the bhakti, the devotion to Krishna. Everyone here is eating, so you can all offer your food to Krishna. Of course, Krishna does not accept anything. So naturally, you want to find out, what will Krishna eat? First, Krishna eats, and then the devotee eats. Krishna is so merciful. He eats and leaves everything there for you. When I was a newcomer to Krishna consciousness in 1972, I was reading the books, but I was not associating with devotees. So some things I misunderstood that I was reading. I read in the books that you offer the food to Krishna and then you take the remnants. So I thought that meant you cook a big pot of food and then you offer it to Krishna and then you throw it all away, and whatever clings to the bottom of the pot, the remnants, you can take that. I said, this is not very practical. Then later, when I was associating with devotees, they told me that Krishna is so kind. You offered food to him, he eats, but he leaves everything there for you. And once you do these 4 things, then your whole spiritual lifestyle begins to transform. And any bad habits that you may have had, I don't think anyone here has bad habits, they'll all slide away. What are bad habits? Who knows? See, no one has any bad habits. They don't know.
Intoxication.
Intoxication. What else? No.
Gambling.
Gambling, yes. Meat eating means fish and eggs also. And what else? Yes. Those 4 things are the pillars of sinful activity. Those 4 things hold up the roof of ignorance and decadence. If you break those 4 pillars, the whole roof of sinful life collapses. By following those 4 rules, you become a human being. And then by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, you become a transcendentalist, one who is becoming beyond the grip of material nature. So by doing the 4 things, associating with devotees, chanting Hare Krishna, reading Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and offering your food to Krishna, you'll get the clarity and strength of mind to alter your lifestyle. Often when persons came to see me this weekend, they were saying, "Oh, I'm not so sure I want to completely go the spiritual way. There are still material things that I'm attached to." I understand. Okay, that's nothing unusual. But if you do those 4 things of associating with devotees, chanting Hare Krishna, reading the books, offering your food to Krishna, you will get the strength to alter your priorities. As Krishna himself says in Bhagavad Gita, Param dista navartate. When you get the superior taste, you automatically let go of the inferior taste. But until you get the superior taste, you're wondering, oh, how will I change my life? I don't know. But once you taste the best thing, you'll let go of the cheap things. So is this process very difficult? Everyone can associate with devotees. Everyone can chant Hare Krishna. Everyone can read the books. You all studied in school. And everyone can offer their food to Krishna. Who is here that does not eat? Everyone eats. So everyone can offer food to Krishna. Sometimes persons ask me, oh Swami, but how can we live without onions and garlic? So it is possible. You use hing, you get a much better sharp taste than from the onions and garlic. It's much healthier also. And your breath is better too. And by your adopting such a high-class lifestyle, you'll influence others to also want to do the same. And 1 year from now, 2 years from now, others will be looking at you, newcomers will be looking at you and thinking, oh, how could I become like them? It seems impossible, they are so saintly. Just like now you're thinking, how can we become like the devotees? They're so far beyond us. But when you take up this bhakti process, in 1 year, persons will be looking at you in the same way. Oh, how can we become like you? You are so high. And then you will have the strength to march into the future. You'll have the strength for building a genuine family. So any questions? All weekend you've been asking very provocative questions. I think now everyone is quiet and satisfied. So the important question for you all is, now what will you do? You can choose to forget everything you heard this weekend and march back into material life. I'm just going to focus on making money, that's all. Why do I have to worry about these other things? It was a nice weekend, nice trip to the waterfall, but now it's time to be a consumer again. Sometimes persons were asking me, but are you sure if we take up this Krishna conscious process, you're sure we will not lose our ability to work or have a family? I said, look around. There's so many devotees who are working with families. I can guarantee you that if you properly take up the bhakti process, your life won't be such a struggle. A struggle that's all for nothing. So what better thing can you imagine to do then follow Krishna's instructions how to connect to him again. Money won't satisfy you. The success you get in this world is so shaky and temporary. Someone was telling me today, who came to see me, "Oh, Swami, I had the perfect job for 6 years. I loved my job so much. I was even working on the weekends without getting paid. I loved my job." And then, because of the economy, I lost my job. What am I going to do? I lost my job. I loved it so much. These are situations that are happening more and more. But if you understand that your main priority in life is pleasing Krishna, that's your main occupation, then you are not destroyed every time there's some material setback. And there'll always be material setbacks in this world because it's the material world. I know some of you are very much in anxiety. You're not getting PR. The rules for PR get stricter and stricter. Others are disturbed about family members in India or Sri Lanka, what's going to happen to them. Others are disturbed because of marriage problems. You married a girl who turned out to only want you because of the visa. Now these things are happening. What to do? So yes, Krishna consciousness deals with all these practical problems in the best way. When you become a person of wisdom, then you can not only help yourself, but help others too. So the Krishna devotee is the most charitable person. He or she can give the best advice to everyone. So no last questions? Everyone looks deep in thought. I don't think it would be possible for many of you to just go back to the way you were before. Of course, anything is possible if you really work at it. I'm just going to forget everything I heard this weekend. It's just too much. It's just too spiritual. I want material success. I don't care what anyone says. And I will teach my children to focus on material success. I don't care what anyone says. Sometimes it happens that a few persons are like that. But generally, most persons who come for this weekend and weekends like it, they're thinking, this is good, but I just wonder, is it possible in this day and age? Is it possible to be spiritual in this day and age when all around you is gross materialism? This weekend I was hearing, as I predicted, from so many persons expressing the complications that are affecting persons under 30 these days. Complications from relationships outside of marriage. It's happening more and more. If we follow Krishna's instructions, then it's possible to fix any situation. That's why at the end of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Sarva dharman prityaja mamekam sharanam vraja. Just abandon all your solutions and come to me, Krishna says. I'll take care of all the situations. You just follow my instructions. Mamekam sharanam vraja. Just take shelter of me alone. Amjam sarva papebhyo. I'll take on all your sinful reactions. I'll take responsibility for your bad karmic reactions. Mokshayishyami mahashuja. Don't worry. Don't worry. Krishna is the only one who can say, no worries. Mahashuta. No worries. Otherwise, they say like that, no worries, mate, but everyone is full of worries and anxiety. Not a problem. There's nothing but problems. So just think for a moment, please. I could be Krishna's devotee. It could be possible. Yes. I can associate with devotees. Yes. I can chant Hare Krishna. Yes, I think I can. I think I can start. Just a little bit every day and gradually increase. I can read Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. Why not? Just reduce my TV time. Of course, I know. I only watch the news. I can offer my food to Krishna. What is the difficulty? My life could actually be spiritually successful. That would be something to pass on to my children. Spiritual success. Of course, there may be a few here who are, very few, who are future brahmacharis. We have a place for you also. Very few, though. Don't worry. Maybe 5% of the persons who come for retreat weekends like we've had, they become brahmacharis. 5% at most. So don't worry. Most everyone, 95% of the persons, they are family persons or they want to be family persons. Arjuna was a family person, and Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita to him. Krishna did not speak Bhagavad Gita to a brahmachari or sannyasi because he knew you would use that as an excuse. Oh, Krishna, we are in the practical world. We are working jobs. We have families. What you spoke in Bhagavad Gita, it doesn't apply to us. Krishna knew you would say like that, so he spoke Bhagavad Gita to a family man and a military man. The most practical occupation, the military. So please think deeply in your heart. Yes, I could actually listen to Krishna, apply his instructions, and see the results. You're all thinking persons. As you said yesterday, the reason why you get jobs in Australia is because you have superior brains. So okay, with the superior brains, please read the superior spiritual science. I was explaining on the boat cruise. Some of you were present on the boat cruise. You may think, oh, but Swami, what you say is very nice and you speak very nicely, but maybe because you took up full Krishna consciousness right after you finished the university, you don't understand the practical world. But I have seen the so-called practical world on every continent of the world for 40 years. I have seen my brothers, they are high in the so-called practical world. One brother, he's a CEO, he's the CEO of a medical charity that's funded 200 million US a year. The other brother, youngest brother, he's on the board of Toyota. He's the general counsel for Toyota. So, I see how they are living, the anxieties and stresses they're under. We are hoping that some of you will want to make a true difference in your life and in the life of your families, now and in the future. In this day and age, the process of enlightenment, the process of self-realization has been made so easy by Krishna. Simply chant the Hare Krishna mantra every day. That is the yajna, the sacrifice for pleasing Krishna. And then you'll have the intelligence how to offer everything in your life for Krishna. When you go home, please look in the mirror and ask yourself, am I just matter, or is there something more to me than matter? Go home and look in the mirror and ask, am I seeing with my naked eyes everything that is me? Or is there something non-material that I'm not seeing? If you think you are just matter, then it's just like so many tubes of toothpaste and cans of shaving cream and whatever you have in your bathroom. It's all the same thing. You're just like that. But I think most of you understand you are a spirit soul, a unit of spiritual consciousness, part of the Supreme Soul. That means you have to nourish your spiritual identity. You can't starve it. You can't neglect it by overwhelming yourself with material priorities. That's the greatest mistake. In the Srimad Bhagavatam it is stated, there's no greater mistake you can make in your life than make something a higher priority than your own spiritual development. No greater mistake. So I thank you all for your kind attention this weekend. I hope that we've given you some deep thoughts to accompany you as you live your life. It's very enlivening to see how many of you are taking increased steps for your spiritual development. It's very wonderful to move beyond just rituals, traditions that no one understands why they're done anymore. Beyond externals, we're moving to the heart of bhakti, understanding who is Krishna and what our relationship with Krishna is. Okay? No last questions? I think it must have been lunch that satisfied everyone, huh? So you have no questions. This weekend has been special. Even the ladies were asking questions. Usually on our weekends, ladies are very shy. I have to urge them. You can raise your hand, ask questions. This is Australia. But the ladies this weekend were very nice with their questions. So when you go home, you look in the mirror, ask yourself, am I just matter? Or is there a spiritual dimension to me? And now what should I do? That's the first verse in Bhagavad Gita. What are they going to do? What are you going to do? Years from now, when you have your families or when your present children are older, they'll ask you, Father, Mother, how is it you started your spiritual path? And you can tell them about this weekend. You can tell them. Father and Mother can tell them, we were deep in ignorance, pursuing the lifestyle of consumerism. And then we came to the retreat weekend, and our life made a turn. And your children will probably be shocked. Really? You were just a consumer before? You were just a slave of material success? One of our guests was telling me the thing that he remembered the most from this weekend was my explaining that Krishna is not cheap. He's the most respectable, dignified person. That means if you want to know Krishna, you have to go through the right methods, the right channels. If you want to know any respectable person, you cannot just march up into his face and say, who are you? Tell me about yourself. No, you have to be courteous. You have to begin the relationship. Proceed step by step. Whenever I go to India, I hear all the time from people, I know about Krishna, I know Krishna, I know. But they don't know. If you want to know Krishna, you simply take his words in Bhagavad Gita as they are, without changing them. You see, the problem is everyone knows about Bhagavad Gita in India, but few people read the book. Understanding Krishna is not a problem when you do things his way. So again, I thank you for listening so attentively. We hope to see many of you at our future events. The staff has worked very hard to provide this event for you. They have families, the staff has families, children. Jobs. But their greatest joy is to give Krishna to others. and to prepare such a nice weekend for you. So I'm sure before we leave here, Nityananda Priya will introduce you to the staff and explain their glories. And you'll see, they are working persons, family persons. Some are married, some are engaged to be married, some have children. Yet, they are happily performing the Krishna conscious technology. And so can you. All right, what happens next? We shall have some kirtan. We have talked about Krishna together, and now we will have kirtan together, singing from the heart Krishna's names. Please don't feel shy. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, this process of Krishna consciousness is joyfully performed. This kirtan is our traditional culmination for this weekend. We can all call out to Krishna and feel his presence.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama, Hare